Hey guys, Hijinder here, back with another video. Today I'll be showcasing to you what I have just created. Now I call this the AutoDropper because it pretty much does what it says. It drops out items automatically as soon as items are inputted into it. I will also put a world download. I will also leave a world download link down in the description. So if you ever want to download this world, basically, you can go ahead, go to the description of this video and download the world. So I guess let's just start on the video. Okay, for comparison, I'm gonna start with the old system, the old dropper system, which everyone should be familiar with by now, with this normal old circuit. So basically, it drops at that speed. I don't want to pick up the items. So that's basically what the auto dropper is. It drops in items as soon as items are inputted into there. Okay, so for the new design that I've made, which works as long as you have observers available in your server or single player world, this is the design, how it looks. So don't you worry, this is the vertical design. I also have another one which is horizontal, meaning that it's only one block high. So if you don't have space vertically or up and down, well, I'll show you another design sooner in the videos, so just keep watching. Now, for the difference, I mean, it's only a bit more expensive. It only requires an extra two pieces of quartz, as this also requires a comparator. So does my machine, so does my system, and except that it requires the other two quartz from these two observers. So basically, this auto dropper is much faster. If you want to compare it with this one, I can show it to you again. That's how fast this is, and that's how fast that is. And not only this design is fast, it is also quite flexible. So you can see from the design here, it's shorter forward, it's shorter backwards, not forwards, backwards. It's shorter to the back, and except that you're gonna have to sacrifice some space to the right and to the left. Now I've purposely designed this system this way so that you can align it to the wall with it still working perfectly, just like that. So if we just give this one a test, as you can see, it'll also work. And if you don't have enough space going backwards, you can always just do this, where you can't see the dispenser. So you might have a game where you don't want the dispensers to be visible by the players, but you want to be able to shoot out items out of it. So you can place it behind the wall, and the system can be like this. So it's only 3 blocks behind and 1 block forward. To build this design, it's basically just an observer which is detecting an output from let me just break some of these, which just detects an output from this dropper. So if you see here, actually I've built this wrong. Let's not break too much things. Now you see here the face here, it must be facing towards the dropper. So if the dropper is right there, the face must be facing upwards. And if you have another dropper, it must be facing the opposite direction. So it detects the redstone update, which then powers this block, which then powers this dropper again, and that becomes a cycle. So that's pretty much what happens. And if you want to know why this stuff happens and how I came up to this design, be sure to watch till the end of the video because I will explain it somewhere in the middle of the video. Now you are also able to replace the system with just a bunch of redstone lines like this, but this completely breaks the simplicity of the system and how the system works. So basically you can also put that closer. But this breaks that design because it's pretty much like the one that I've explained here, except that that looks a lot worse and that's a little bit more simpler. So that's basically why I didn't put this. That's basically why I didn't choose to use redstone here, and it's also hard to integrate it if you want to move it backwards, where with that circuit behind there, all there, and that's why I have been forced to use two observers, unfortunately. Okay, so for this design, this is the one that goes up instead of down. It is smaller, except you're gonna have to sacrifice some space for the wall. So for this design, you can't actually place walls around there. And you're also gonna have to be, and you're also forced to see this redstone dust. So, I mean, it's not that good. This is why I created this one. Now this one isn't actually built by me. I saw this on Mambo Jumbo's video and I decided to put it here because I can. Now this is just as fast as the other one, except that I've broken it. Okay, so I forgot to put a repeater there, that's what happened. So pretty much it's the same speed as the other ones, but it just looks, it doesn't look as good. But it is cheaper because it only costs one observer and one comparator, which only requires two quartz, while my design requires three pieces of quartz. Okay, so for this design, the horizontal design, it doesn't look as good because you can't align it to the wall, just like this. You will have to see that comparator right there, standing or sitting down right there. Or you could always just turn the dispenser around so that you're facing the observers right next to it. But you're going to have to see that piece of redstone. Now I showed this one. Now this design is shown all the way at the end, and that design is shown all the way at the front because, I mean, that design looks way neater versus this design. So basically, it's the same thing except a lot cheaper. As you can see there, it's just the same speed, just like that. Now for this design, it's pretty much like this one, except a bit longer. And now for this design, this is a bit bigger, and the reason why I've done this, I'll show you guys later over there. But basically because of what it can do over there, it will have to be a bit bigger, but it costs the same. It costs the exact same amount of redstone and stuff, and it's still just as fast. Now, you might be wondering to how this system works, why it's so fast, and what's the logic behind all of this stuff. So basically what I've done here is I've pretty much just used this dropper and how the observer can detect an output from the dropper itself. So if the dropper spits out an item, you can see that the observer will be able to give out a redstone output, and if we put a redstone dust here, the redstone dust will be powered, which then will power this dropper again, in which the observer can pick up that update and just repeat the whole cycle pretty much. So basically if we have items here and we activate the dropper, then it repeats the cycle in a much faster fashion, as you can see here. Now, if you saw my circuit there at the end, all of these circuits actually, they all have redstone comparators. And the reason to why they all have redstone comparators is not because they're there for cool stuff or just to expand the circuit, but basically, if there is no items in here, you don't want this noisy ticking noise to happen if you have this machine inside your base, for example, because then it'll get quite noisy. It'll also get quite laggy because this redstone keeps updating. So basically what I've done here is if there is no items inside the dropper, then the redstone comparator will not take an output, which then will turn on this redstone torch, sorry, which will power this redstone repeater, which just turns off the system basically. And all my contraptions here, they're pretty much a modified version of this, so that it could look a lot nicer than just that. You can see here, it looks pretty bad like this. So that's pretty much there is to the logic. If you don't understand that, be sure to rewind if you want to understand it. But basically now, I guess let's go on to the applications. Okay, so for applications to why you probably want to create these fast item droppers with which is a little bit more expensive is probably because you want to transport items a lot faster. Now, everyone knows that transporting items with water streams and ice is a lot faster than using hoppers. But if you can output those items even faster into the water streams, then you can transport items even faster. So for this example here, I've set this up. So basically, we have redstone signal locking all the hoppers right now, and we have items. Why are you there? Let's just put you back. And we have items inside these hoppers. Now, I put two. I made sure that this hopper feeds into two different hoppers just because of how fast this item dropper outputs the objects. And if you only have one hopper here, it won't be able to keep up. I'll show you guys later. Now, with, with water streams, you are able to see where the items are, but with hoppers you can't. So I've connected this up to redstone lamps so you can tell where the first item has gone so far. So I don't think I need more explanations, so let's just start the experiment. So in 3, 2, 1, go. Now as you can see here, The hopper is faster. Now the middle line is obviously the fastest, but the hopper, as you just saw there, is actually faster than this. But because the hoppers are limited to a certain amount of items being flown in a certain amount of time, in the end it becomes slower if you're sending in a whole group of items. You see, the hoppers are still stuck right here. There are still items flowing into them, while this circuit is actually already done. So what I'm trying to say is the faster droppers are always worth it. The faster droppers, it can be really really worth it if you want to save lots of time and if you're the kind of fast guy, if you want to transport items quickly. So who came in first place was this water with the ice track path, because I mean obviously items flow faster with ice on them. And this one came in second, even though they were slower in transporting from one place to another, but by group they'll be faster because of this fast dropper that I've created here. And Hopper came in last mainly because of the limited amount of items that can transfer, basically, yeah. Now, as I promised you there before, I'm gonna stick some fish. I'm gonna put just one hopper feeding into this dispenser, this dropper, and I'm gonna show you that this dropper won't be able to catch up. So if I put the items here, listen to the dropper. Occasionally it would not output anything, and that's because the hoppers aren't actually fast enough to feed into the dropper. So what I've done here is added an extra hopper, and because of how hoppers work, one will transfer to over here, and hoppers will automatically always transport items downwards. So that this is how the system's working. And for the second application, we have this item elevator, which doesn't require droppers and uses glass, which is pretty cool. Now, lots of you have probably seen this. It doesn't have to be glass, but I've used glass just just so you can see where the items are. But basically, the fast droppers, they just do things much faster. It doesn't actually transport the items from one place to another place faster, but what it does is it outputs the items faster. And you can always lead this up to possibly another hopper line or water stream, or you can throw them out into the void, which I don't necessarily suggest. Okay, so what I've done here is I've built the other circuit, the other fast dropper circuit, which is this one over here, the last one, which I told you I was gonna tell the reason to why I've done this. And this is because if we were to use this smaller circuit, then basically we would need redstone to be over here, and we would need a block to be over here. We can't have transparent blocks like redstone to be here. Instead, we'll need to have a block or glass over here. And that's why I needed to expand this circuit so it is compatible with this, and it's also cheaper. And I've also made this circuit, which is a normal old default redstone easy circuit, redstone dropper auto dropper circuit. So just for comparison. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna give this one a hit start. Okay, so there we go. We have items starting to flow, and then I'll start shooting out items from this dropper. Now you can already see that the dropper on the right is much faster than the dropper on the left. And if we just wait long enough, we will be able to see that this item has finished transporting all of its items up, while this one is actually still outputting its items. And there you go, it has finally stopped, while this one has actually already finished its job. So yeah guys, that was the fast auto dropper circuit. Be sure to leave a like if you have enjoyed the video or if you have liked the idea. And I upload Minecraft content here. Be sure to subscribe if you're new at all. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.